Today is episode's a little different. We have a guest on who doesn't struggle with mental illness, and we just thought it'd be fun to like try and get into that brain and see what
Absolutely.
that's like.
Yeah.
Um, how are you, Mike? How you doing?
I'm good. How about yourself?
All right, Rich, checking in.
Mike, just your tone of voice is so positive. I don't know if I can handle it. It's great. It's great.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. I'm doing all right today. It's Monday. I woke up today, didn't know what day it was, and then I was like, oh fuck, it's Monday. And I was like, oh no, it's all right. It's Monday. It's fine. It's fine. So I had one of those this morning. Usually, the past week I've been like getting up and being like, all right, it's cool. It's just another day. Got stuff to do. But today was one of those, oh fuck, it's Mondays. I don't know why, it just was, but now we're here, and positivity should be, you know, exuding through this podcast today. So here we are.
So what's like? I mean, that like kind of brings it to like the thing that I thought was funniest about this whole thing is like you're like, oh fuck, it's Monday, but like Monday's like a pretty good day. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like for you for now, right? Because it's like you do this, you bake, you play with one of your bands,
hmm
so it's like it's a good day, but still you were like in
it's
your head, you're like, oh, yeah.
it was just like I think it was a realization that I was putting off a couple things for today that I usually don't, and I got behind on just one thing, and it was like the snowball effect. You get
Mhm.
behind on one thing, and then before you can do the thing after it, you still got to do that one thing that you didn't shouldn't have to do. So I woke up this morning, I was like, I got the thing was going to the post office. As little as mundane as that sounds, it was like that's why when I woke up and like immediately went through the Rolodex of what I had to do today, the post office was in there. So I couldn't do two other things until I went to the post office, and that's why it started. And then it's like, oh man, and then the pot I gotta set, okay, and then the thing just happened now. Um, Usually we have a borrowed Zoom account for doing guests, and I just tried to log into it, and something went wrong there, and I'm a little sweaty because I got all panicky. I was and because I had to message my friend and be like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I locked out that account by trying too many times." So I got all panicky, and I was like, "Oh god!" So, but now we're here, and it's gonna be okay because this is like I'm 2/3 done with the day. I have one more thing to do, and then I'm good today. So that's my Monday. My Monday panics. The Monday scaries.
And like that when we talked about having Mikey on the show, we were just like what's that like, Mike? Like you get up in the morning, you just get up in the morning, right? There's no like anxiety or panic.
No, I I feel like maybe the most difficult thing at times is I'm just still tired and I have to not play Dr. Mario on my phone for too long. But usually I have like a cut like when 25 words or less starts coming on, which is like my favorite game show.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, all right, I have to get out of bed by the time 25 words or less. And then I go sit on the couch and play Dr. Mario while that plays. But no, I've never had that. Yeah, that anxiety of getting out of bed thing. No, no,
That's
no,
awesome. Good for you.
no. Thanks.
Have you
Yeah,
always?
when
Has it always been like that's just your vibe? You've just kind of always kind of had the ability to be in that kind of frame
yeah,
of mind.
I've never really struggled with stuff. I mean, there's times where I get down and have some kind of we'll have like a little depression for a few
Sure,
days kind of
sure.
thing, but it's never debilitating by any means. And yeah, I'm very lucky in that. Yeah, I've never had those problems.
It's just such a far idea to me is like be sad and it not like cripple, like it not ruin the whole rest of your life.
No, I'm always like, I mean, if anything, if I do have a problem, it's that maybe I do get over things too quickly. And like, I'm just able to like compartmentalize stuff. And like, if I get, is even if I am down, like if I get working on something, then my mind gets off of it and I'm just like, whatever.
hmm
And, can get away from it for a little bit.
When I was talking to Mike about doing this, like whatever, I was like asking a few questions, and he was like, "Well, I've been sad."
thank goodness.
Yeah.
At least you've been sad.
I always joke because like last time I was here, it was like during the pandemic, and I was doing like a show, and I was like, "Oh, you want to roll to the show?" And he was like, "No, I'm cool." And it was just like even him saying no, it was just like such a positive no. I was like, "Yeah, I don't want to go either. Like we should hang out here."
So that's wonderful that you're able to be that way mentally and like with your friends and stuff. Sometimes, because I was thinking about this, and Neil had mentioned that you are a positive human being, a happy, so I was prepared for that, right? And it's not like I'm not trying to like some sort of backhanded like, hey, you're a positive guy, whatever. But it's like that can come across from some people as like what Neil and I talk about, like toxic positivity, or like it can come across in a way that it's like, you know, you just take it the wrong way. Especially like Neil and I are kind of like, anything a human being says to us, we like analyze it to a core, and it ends up being some sort of negative thing, right? Even if somebody's like, great job, and Neil's like, no, it wasn't. You're just saying that. Shut up. I'm going to go over here and sleep for 3 days now. Like, how does that work? But it's something that I wanted to bring up. It's like, you just sometimes come across people that have a such a way of being, and you're just like, God, not him again, or not her, or not them again. You know, like, and I'm sure it's just that's you, that's Mike's that person, and people enjoy that. Like, do you run into toxic positivity? Can you sense it? Can you feel it? How are you affected by it? Like, is that something that, you know, you've encountered?
I mean, I guess, I can think of people who are that kind of like way too, I don't know, aggressively upbeat. But it always comes off as like, I don't know, like you're like they're just being manic almost, more like it is like a problem. Like, I don't know, that's what I think of when I think what you're describing. And yeah, there's always just something that seems off about that, I feel like. And hopefully I don't have that. But I feel like I'm still like a relatively chill person.
Yeah.
And I don't know, when I think of those people, I always think that they're like the people who are like, let's go do this. Let's fucking like whatever. And
like an
I'm
aerobics instructor or something, like you know, like that kind of thing. You're like, no, the thing that you're saying in a positive way, I don't like it. You need to stop.
Exactly. Yeah. And so I don't know. I think I'm still a relatively laid back, chill person who's just more content, I guess.
You're balanced. I like it. Okay.
I mean, you're not without your things. You know what I mean? I don't know if I would call it OCD, but you have like you have a respect.
I like organization for sure.
But like you're a completist too, which I don't know if that's like the healthiest. You know what I mean?
I like how this has become dissect Mike within 5 minutes of the podcast. Why are you so positive?
No, there's something to be said for that. I definitely like get into that stuff. I definitely don't need fucking 10 copies of a record, but I have many.
But I don't know, because like, what is that then? It's like fine.
What's what?
It's like Dubin does that. Like people do that. People like collect. Like being a collector isn't like a thing. It's just like when it gets over the top, then it's like hoarding, right?
To a point, yeah.
But what's that like? Do we get to like? Are we being judgy? Like, do we choose when someone becomes a hoarder?
I think so, because I mean, it's like if I choose to, and I'm not like, you know, I'm not spending my rent money or whatever on well, let's just say sneakers, whatever. That's the first thing that came to mind. And then like I have a room full of sneakers, first thing that comes to mind. But like if I can handle it and I have a room for it and I enjoy it and I want to show people and share it, that's like one thing, right? But then if you're like, you have a room and it's in shambles and it's just like a room full of sneakers and all you do is buy sneakers and you just throw them in this room for no reason, I think that's when it's like a product. It's like almost like a gambling addiction. Like you just keep throwing money into it and it's just like, all right, maybe it's an investment. I mean, you got these things that are worth stuff, but it's like, at what point does it become like enjoyment and like a hobby and then just like having stuff to have stuff, right? That's kind of how I see it. Records too.
Yeah, or if you're being financially irresponsible to acquire these things, that's not a good thing.
Magic the Gathering cards for myself became that a long time ago. Like when I was first into it, it's something I still do, but I don't play physically anymore. I just play on the computer. But when I first got into it, it was all I did. And I spent so much money doing it, and I bought and I bought and I bought, and I had this big collection. And then what did I do with it? I got to a point where I was like running out of money. And this was my early college years, so I didn't have the greatest financial intelligence. And then like after all the money I spent on all these good cards, I sold them for half of what they were worth just to have the money so I could pay rent them. So that was like, that's when I knew I was like, all right, this is a problem. And I don't think I can play this game anymore. And then that's when I got out of it. And then I got back into it 22 years later to find out that all the cards that I sold to this one guy in a parking lot of a Domino's in 1999 are worth so fucking much money at this point. They're worth so much money. And I have to not think about it because it makes me like legit sad. Like one card is worth $3,000 and I had 4 copies of each one across the whole. It's one of those things where I'm just like, man, I would be in such a different place. But you don't know back then. So,
and you wouldn't be in a different place. I always feel like the money thing, man. Like I was talking to somebody about what was it like? Selling my parents' house like after they passed.
Mm-hmm.
Like the bank took it back, but there was like a company that was like, well, you can buy it back from the bank, and we'll buy it from you. Like, but we'll add all the money. So like we'll buy the house and just give you a couple of bucks and like whatever the number was. And someone was like, oh, that would have helped you out.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yeah, it would have helped me out for a minute, but
yeah. It maybe in that moment, yeah.
And then what? Now we're here again.
Yeah.
So I don't know. And look, with talking about like the way you were talking about collection as an addiction, like I don't know, maybe I'm like too pro addiction. I don't know, man. 'Cause it just feels like, well, oh, but I can handle it, and I have the money to handle it, and I have the whatever, the space, I have the room for the shoes. It's like, all right, well, you know, I'm not mugging anyone for Oxy, so then I should be able to do Oxy.
Hey man, you do you. You do you.
I think there's just like a personal thing too when you know you've reached a point where it's not even necessarily bringing you happiness at that moment, but you still do it, and you just have to like acknowledge that when it happens, and then you'll
no, like when my mom was like not throwing out magazines, like if you threw out the magazines, like she got physically upset, like it was gross. So like I don't know, it's not making her happy to buy the magazine, but it's also making her not happy to keep.
It's a physical.
I mean, I'm doing the math wrong, but there's a thing there.
There's a thing there. It's like a mental attachment to a thing, like a physical thing. And that's kind of how it like embodies itself, right? Like this thing. At some point, the thing doesn't really even kind of matter. It's just the fact that you have a thing and stuff, and that stuff becomes part of you and your identity when you're like maybe lacking in some other respects, right? I know that's how I've been there in like. Especially with like, I go back to the Magic card thing because that was me for so. I was like, I was into it, and if I lost it or if I traded or sold something or didn't get, it was like my thing, and I like needed that certain card or I needed that certain deck to play, and I would like do whatever it took to get that thing. And then when I had it, and I'm sitting in my room by myself with no friends because like the only friends I have are at the card shop, I'm like, that's all I even cared about. By myself, I was like, I have this like attachment to this piece of cardboard that's like has some sort of like status to it amongst like these nerds, right? Like I'm like, what at one point at what point did I need to like see that like that stuff didn't matter and I could like trade it or give it away or sell it, and like it's not my identity and it's okay. But that's that's part of the mental addiction of stuff, I think. I mean, that's where I've been.
I don't know, man. Maybe I'm like a I don't know. I'm like an apologist for addiction, but like to me, like I don't see the harm in that. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm.
oh, so you had friends at the card shop? That's what you're telling me. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you had friends with similar interests you hung out with,
That's so
so
weird.
you were social and you did social things and you got out of your house to like hang out with people you considered
And it
friends.
wasn't even about that. That's like now it's clear. Like that's yes, that's totally obvious. And I would love that at this moment, especially after the past couple years I've had personally. But then all it was about was like being the cool guy with the cards and the cards are mine, and it's like almost like
I mean, yeah, okay, maybe that's like a little unhealthy to have that kind of a focus, but to me, it just seems like, well, that's everybody.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like everyone in the world is like, has like something that they're like that with. You know what I mean? Like even the most put together guy I can think of, Mike Kennedy. You know what I mean? Like if you really wanted to break it down, like what's the difference between Magic cards and copies of Walk Among Us?
Nothing at
No,
all.
totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Oh, so he like has a thing that brings him joy that he collects, that like the quest is the fun part, that like makes him social. He meets people when he's on tour. He like goes to all the record shops. That sounds like fucking fun.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know, like to me that doesn't seem like, you know what I mean? And I know I'm comparing apples and razor blades. I know. But yeah, the guy who does crack, he's going to hang out with other people that do crack. He's finding people that are like him. He's going to places that he's comfortable being.
Mm-hmm.
He's not comfortable at Chuck's famous steaks. He's comfortable in the alley with John and Chris, and they're doing their thing. Like I don't know. It just like it feels to me like it's not necessarily obviously don't smoke crack or whatever the fuck, but
Thanks for the disclaimer.
it doesn't feel like we're like combating an illness. It feels like we're stigmatizing something that because we don't understand it.
Happiness. It's a unique internal happiness for each individual. Yeah.
Like
it's definitely
okay, obviously like crack might be the bad example of it.
yes.
But,
That's a bad example.
but what about the girl who like does bottomless mimosas on Sunday?
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like that's not
if she's
healthy
hanging with her
either.
friends and she gets home safe, more power to her.
Okay, but that's not but like I'm saying, like that's not necessarily healthy.
Right.
But because she's also having avocado toast, we're like, okay, let Megan do whatever.
I guess it's just a spectrum of how much it can hurt your life in general.
Yeah.
And there's some point where it crosses into.
But can't getting day drunk every Sunday affect your life negatively, just as negatively?
Yeah.
Or, I mean, way more negatively than Rich having too many Magic cards, as
Totally.
dorky as that is.
Hey.
Yeah. No judgment.
There you go. Thanks.
Listen, to me, honestly, the crackhead, I'm way less judgy about him than I am about you doing magic.
Doing magic. I like that. You do magic.
Well, you kids and your magic, you're doing magic.
Can I ask a total side about that has nothing to do with mental illness? But you mentioned that you play it online now.
Yes.
And I've never played it.
Yeah.
But now I've known that the collectorness of it. So what do they do? Are there like NFT kind of things for cards to have? Like how do you collect a deck or have a rare card when you're playing online?
There's two online versions. There's Magic the Gathering Online, which has been around since like 2000. Those cards on that platform actually have a monetary value. Like you can put money into it, but they're not worth anywhere near what they're worth in real life because they're digital. But you can still spend money on a card. I don't play that one. I play the newest version that came out 2 years ago. It's called Magic the Gathering Arena. And the currency is basically you buy in-game currency if you want to buy packs. And the only way to get cards in Arena is to buy packs. You can't get individual one. You can't like go to a virtual card store and be like, I want to buy 4 of those. It just keeps the people coming back to like cycle in-game currency. Like basically you pay $20, you get 3,000 gems, and then you pay 1,000 gems for 10 packs of cards. You open 10 packs of cards and then you get 10 random so it's like that kind of cycle.
I got you.
So I guess, it's that kind of thing. For me, I just wanted to actually tell the story because I never actually told the clear version of it, and I think it's been long enough where I won't get in trouble. So a year ago,
if I lose consciousness, just
okay, yeah, no problem. You just sit there. A year ago, this is actually kind of a good story. I was streaming a lot. I would play Magic, and Neil knows this. I would stream Magic the Gathering on Twitch as like a daily thing. I would play Magic. People would watch me, the whole deal. It was a very fun thing. I do it still, but not as much. I did it so much where I got featured as a content creator of the day back in April of last year. Wizards of the Coast, a company who makes Magic, reached out to me individually and was like, we're going to sponsor you.
Of the coast.
We're going to sponsor you for a day. We're going to give you this cool account with a whole bunch of, gems and stuff so you can make more cards. You can do some stuff, whatever. So you can play with the new set and whatever. So I woke up the morning of this featured day. I was super excited. And my account, so what I was saying about 3,000 gems is about $20 in real life money. I woke up that morning and they loaded my account, my personal account, and I had over 3 million gems in my account. And I automatically was like, that's probably a mistake. I'm not going to say anything, right? Because I was like, this can't be right. They can't be that generous, because with 3 million gems, if you do the math, that's a whole fucking lot of money, real life money. So I went and bought some stuff, and then I was like, wait a second, hold on, this is definitely a mistake. So my conscience caught up with me really quick. I was like, wait, don't go crazy. You might get. So I bought a couple things, whatever, and the day goes by. I do a lot of stuff, and then later on that day, I get an email from the coordinator and goes, creators, there seemed to be a problem with the accounts this morning. They were uploaded with excess stuff, and the stuff they listed off didn't mention any of the gems. It was just like, you might have gotten too many cards, you might have gotten too many of this. So I was like, okay. So I emailed back immediately. I was like, hey, listen, I have over 3 million gems in my account. I don't think that's right. And he wrote back, don't touch them. Our legal team will be on this in a minute. Somebody's in trouble. Like, it was like the most probably panicked email from the guy in charge that this shouldn't have happened with. And I was like, okay. So the day goes by, everything goes cool, whatever. The 3 million gems were in my account for like 6 days after. And the guy was just like, don't touch them. We'll figure this out. So finally, they cleared my account back to a certain amount of gems. And he said, we're going to give you an extra 1,000 gems for the problem or whatever. They left 50,000 gems in my account, not just 1,000. They left 50,000 extra, which if you do the math is a whole lot of gems. I've been riding that 50,000 gems since last April, and I haven't had to pay for a single thing in the game. And they put out a set which is like 250 new cards every 3 months. So I haven't had to pay anything for about a year, thanks to their screw up. So that's my Magic story, and that's how I play Magic for free now, and I feel good about it. I don't spend any money, so it's great.
Yeah. And you were honest too. Like
Yeah, exactly. I did my part. Listen, the guy over the computer guy on the other end of the wizard screen, like doing whatever he needed to do, if he or she, if they didn't do what they were supposed to do, that's not my fault, right? So I made out in the deal. So yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. So now it's no longer an addiction. It's just a hobby that frustrates me, and it's something that I have to actually limit because my competitive nature comes out in that too. And that's a whole nother episode of our podcast, the mental the mental taxing it takes playing Magic. But that's my story.
Neil's excited for that episode.
I didn't know it was going in the direction it was going.
Yeah.
Once you start talking about gems and stuff, I was like, okay. But then once you were like, a corporation screwed up and I saved money, I'm like, yeah. Like, milk their mothers.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. And the fact that the guy was like, don't say anything to anyone. And I was like, Okay, I won't. And here I am a year later because I think it's, what is it, statute of limitations on gem mistakes? I don't know.
I don't know. 1 year only? I don't know. When we were originally talking about having you on, Mike, we were like, did I say this already on the pod or no? Where I was just like, what's it like to like not have to negotiate with yourself to get out of bed?
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we did already say
You just get up, right?
that. Yeah.
Did we talk about this already or no?
It's like
Yeah.
the first thing, and then it went on and up about gems and magic, and that's sneaker collecting. Mike, let me ask you a question, Mike, because I don't know you at all. Let me just be like, give me a brief summary of yourself, like it's as detailed or not detailed as you want to be, just to kind of put us in a sort of way to relate with you.
That's a good question. Like growing up kind of summary?
Sure.
Or just
yeah. I mean,
my
do you have brothers and sisters? Where'd you grow up? How did you get from, baby you to adult you with not, seemingly, as Neil puts it, not having to negotiate with yourself when you get out of bed? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I grew up in Houston, moved to Oklahoma City when I was a teenager. And I've just lived in those two places pretty much. Have two older siblings, a sister who's 18 years older than me, so I've never even lived in the same house with her, and then a brother who's 6 years older.
Okay, I'm gonna stop you right there.
Okay.
Your relationship with your older brother. You don't have to get too detailed, but was it a great older brother that was like, let me show you the ways of music and girls and guys and friends and this and that, or was it just like, I'm going to beat up my younger brother all the time or pay them no mind?
It was both.
Both? Okay, great. So you're a well-rounded. Okay, cool.
Yeah, he was very much all about showing me music and stuff, and so at a very young age got me into stuff, and but also at the same time tormented the hell out of me, and we didn't. It was one of those things that's like, as soon as he graduated and moved out, we've gotten along amazing. But up until that point, it was a lot of fighting. And, but at the same time, like he showed me, like when Master of Puppets came out and I was like 6 years old, he's like, here's your new favorite band. And so I appreciate that. He got me into things at an earlier age than a lot of kids were able to, stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know. And my parents, they're together. Like my dad passed away a couple years ago, but no divorce or anything.
Mm-hmm,
and they were always very cool. Like nothing to speak of, in any ill way of how they raised us.
It's unfortunate that I have to even like touch on it, but it's like, it's rare to hear of someone of our circle of friends these days say that they, a lot of people have similar like negative things to say about how they grew up. You know what I mean? There's like, whether it be the parents or brother, sister, their living situation, whatever. So it's unfortunate that it's rare to hear like I had a typical older brother that kind of whatever, and then parents are great, and here I am. I'm a happy guy. You know what I mean?
So what's that like? Never being sexually assaulted or harassed by an older?
Yeah.
What's that like? Not having your mother addicted to prescription pain medicine? What's that like?
It's funny, actually, I guess it's pertinent. I like my dad, his side of the family, like I never knew. I actually just learned all these things over Christmas, that there was actually like some mental health issues on his side of the family, that I guess he avoided even. And so like my grandmother, I guess I didn't really know her much. She died when I was, I don't know, maybe 10 or 11, but even then, like she had lived in another state, and so I didn't see her much until like near the end. And but apparently she dealt with issues like hardcore, like in the 50s, being institutionalized.
Oh, wow.
And So my dad being the youngest, and they were spread out the same way I was with my brother and sister. And yeah, like I guess his dad was like not really, you know, very much of like a hands-on dad. His mom had her issues. They were separated, and like, and since his older brothers had already like moved on and had started their lives, like he had to deal with her when she was at her worst. And then she like shipped him off to live with his dad, like all these things that I never knew, and he always like never brought up, never even like. And I think it was him maybe like just not wanting us to know that he had to deal with those things.
It sounds like it was on purpose. Like just from hearing this a little bit part is like, you know what, I went through this thing. I don't want my family to go through what I went through. So we're gonna move forward on a different way. Yeah. So
it's crazy to learn that stuff because and it wasn't ever like there was never oh, I don't want to talk about it. Like there was no indication of anything. Like he just didn't
just well hidden. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that was crazy to learn. And then like, and for a while he had to like live with my uncle because his brother was like, 18 years older than him or something, but he was like abusive to him. And so I just learned about all that stuff, and I'm just like, oh my God, he like had a hard childhood.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he never indicated that to us at all.
That's good. That's strong, man. That's not many people, I mean, can come out of I would assume come out of something like with all that stuff and come out of it like leading the rest of their lives with their family on a like positive note. And like a lot of that stuff like spills over, and you see like, parents treat their children like they were treated by or like relive those kind of unfortunate things. And it's good. That's pretty awesome.
I think, I mean, most people, I feel like they want it to be a little bit better for their children.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a rare instance where someone's like, well, I had it really rough, so fuck these kids.
Yeah, I don't think they do it on purpose, but maybe there's a select few people that
learned behaviors for sure.
Yeah. Well, that's how you become a person that doesn't want to not get out of bed in the morning. I appreciate it, Mike. I learned a lesson.
Yeah.
have a good childhood. Check.
Totally. And I'm kind of blessed too and because learning how there is some like history of kind of like alcoholism and stuff in my family, but like that's something I've never like. Drinking or drugs and stuff have never been anything that's, even though I've partaken in some things, like it's never like appealed to me. It's never something I've like desired to do. Right. And to the point now where I just haven't in probably close to 10 years, just because I'm like, I don't care.
Right.
And so I know that's a rare thing just in general. And, but I'm happy that I somehow lucked out with that to where I just don't care.
Good job.
It's weird that like I think it's weird when people like because you never like claim straight edge, and I remember seeing you have like a craft beer here and there or like something here and there over the years, and it was always like that's weird, that's like a weird looking thing. And like my like the girl I was just on tour with, Abby Washuta, like the comedian, I never see her drink either. And then because like she's always working, she's always got it, she's doing a show, she's producing a show, whatever, when I see her, she's at work. And then being on tour with her just now, like after a show, she like someone offered her a beer and she's like, yeah, I'll have a beer. And I was like, it just looks so weird. You know what I mean? Like it's like, oh, these people don't not drink, they just don't. They're just not like it's just not part of their personality. You know what I mean?
That always weirds me out too.
Like it's their personality.
Exactly. That's like I work in a bar. I've worked in a bar for a long time, but currently like very part time. But it's funny seeing people have a casual drink because I don't know why, but I'm so used to that if somebody's drinking, they're drinking. Like I've been surrounded by that for so long. I don't drink, and I never have. And all I see is like the people who do drink. But then there's like the select few, just like your friend, like, I'm gonna have a drink tonight, and they have a little drink, and that's that. And I'm like, shouldn't there be more? Like, shouldn't and me being like a person who's like had friends at the bar, like people partying, and like I want people to have a good time. So like, oh, drink. I'm straight edge, right? My friends aren't. They want to have a good time. I'm not going to be the straight edge guy bartender telling them not to drink, right? So maybe I'll be a little bit of an enabler, but they're having a good time. I have my eye on them, whatever. I have my certification. I'm tip certified. Don't worry. I know how to cut somebody off or whatever. But I never really encounter that like casual drinker, and it does weird me out. It's funny that I thought it was just me, like that just saw like somebody who has a beer like once every 2 months is just like a real thing.
Yeah, like don't you need to keep drinking until you get belligerent, and that mean you have to fight over your keys? Don't you have to? Don't you have to do that? Or you can just have a beer?
When will you start crying? You need to start everybody cries eventually.
You need to like dump the contents of your purse into a puddle and then yell at me that it's my fault. When does that happen?
Oh man, it's funny. One of the dudes I'm in the new band with, he struggled
Ralph
with
from Drop Dead.
George from Drop Dead.
George from Drop Dead.
Not George from Drop Dead. Sorry.
It's a band with the guy from Drop Dead.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I love Drop Dead.
They are an institution here in Rhode Island. But one of the dudes is the dude in my band. He struggled with substance abuse for a long time. He's been clean and sober for I think 6 years. I think he just hit his 6-year anniversary. But there was one point where, I mean, I've been his friend through and through. Like we've been in bands together in the past, whatever. And we were reminiscing. He hates it too. And I think, and I didn't know George listens to the podcast, so he's listening right now. And I think it's about time that we don't rag on him about his past like mistakes anymore, because like hearing that shit over and over and over again, like, remember when you were such a shitty dude? And he's like, yes, I remember. But there was one point where we were outside, it was many years ago, and he tried to fight me because he was on something, and we were like walking along the sidewalk, and it was kind of like what Neil was saying about just like, I did something, and it was probably like I went left around the parking meter instead of right around the parking meter, and like, why did you go that way? You know what? And it was just like, Joe is gonna fight me, right? And he like trained MMA for a while, like he was super strong and like scary, and I was like, Joe, please. Oh, well, now you know who it is, Joe. Don't fight me. It's me. I don't know how to fight. I've never been in a fight in my life. I've been beaten up a couple times, but I've never fought. So I'm like not gonna fight my friend. So those kind of like instances are like so frightening. And when I'm in a situation where like if people are drinking and stuff, now I know way better at this point in my life. I've been doing it for so long to like just kind of like keep the fun to a maximum, and I know where to sort of cut that off. So there won't be any people in my best friends fighting me on the sidewalk later on because of my faults or feeding them too many drinks. So, but it's really cool to see from my perspective where a lot of my friends and acquaintances have come very far, because I've worked in a bar for a very long time, for like 5 years straight, back in the like from 2013 to like 2018. And it was like everybody I knew who drank like partied, like everybody went really hard. And then recently all of the party hard has stopped. Like I think everybody's finally gotten to the age where it's like, this isn't healthy. I don't want to fight my best friends. I want to save some money. I have a kid now. Like all of the things that happen, like, we all grow up. Yeah, everybody should have their party times. But I think it's nice to see a lot of the people who I thought probably would never stop acting that way or doing those things or partaking in certain things are, everyone wants to be a little bit healthier. Like people that I wouldn't imagine are like into exercising and like doing weightlifting and stuff. Like I've made like connections with friends that I am into weightlifting, and to find out some people that I would never think of, they're like, yeah, man, I stopped drinking and now I lift weights. I'm like, wow, that's great. So we've come a long way, I think, in the past 10 years or so with just realizing that mental and physical health are a lot more important as we get older, because yeah, we're all going to fall apart at some point.
Was your sister like when your family moved to Oklahoma, did your sister stayed in Houston?
Yeah, I mean, she was, how old would she have been at that point? I mean, in her 30s, Yeah, and my brother too. My brother lived in
Your brother
Dallas.
stayed
Still does.
also.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he was in his early 20s at that point. So, yeah, I was the only one, still a child, stuck to wherever my parents are going.
And then when did your parents move back to Houston?
Like 5 or 6 years ago, something like that.
Where are you guys right now? What state are you in?
Edmond, Oklahoma.
Oklahoma. Okay. All right. Gotcha.
Yeah,
Right
which is
by-
a suburb of Oklahoma City.
Awesome. Neil loves
Right
Oklahoma.
by Santa Fe High School.
Loves it.
Just so,
That is where I went to high school here.
so weird that it's called Santa Fe High School.
It really is, because the other two in town too are North and Memorial, and then Santa Fe. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, as we're coming up to I can't believe we've been talking for 45 minutes already, but I want to check in with Neil. You've been on the road you're coming up on a month?
Look at that happy look on his face.
No, I'm good. I'm tired. That's all.
Has it been it's been like 3 weeks at least, right?
2 full weeks?
And everything's going great, I assume.
Great.
That's great. I always like this interaction now because I don't know how familiar you are with where we were both at, Mike, when we started the podcast. I don't know if Neil filled you in on both of our mental health was at probably like a very low point when we started the podcast, but coming from where we were and to see Neil like out on the road, happy, smiling, doing his thing, doing what he loves, it's like I always love to hear it every week because we keep our chat to a minimal too, like from week to week. It's like yesterday I called him just to check in real quick, and I was gonna like try to start a conversation. I was like, you know what? No, I'll talk to you tomorrow on the podcast because it'll probably be something fun to talk about. But no, so everything's going good, and you're just ripping through the states, making people laugh, right?
Yeah, doing what I can.
Good.
No shows here in Oklahoma. This is just like a kind of like a mid-tour wind down. You know what I mean? Just like a quick little break.
Yep.
Some Monday and a Tuesday. I was like, I could try and find something, but
Yeah.
I don't want to drive like 6 hours on a Monday to do 20 people in a bar. So
I'm glad to hear it.
Mikey's always like super generous with his home. So
if I'm ever in
out.
Edmond,
I like catching up with
Oklahoma,
Mike. Made some friends locally too. So it's good to like just chill.
awesome. Mike, what do you do? What's your go-to or one of your go-tos to like make you happy? Like a simple like, oh, this will put me in a good mood, or this brings me joy.
Animal
Eating.
videos.
Animal videos are nice, but like I really enjoy like just going out and having lunch somewhere.
Awesome.
Yeah, just getting out of the house for a minute.
Yep.
Because like I do a lot of like most of the time these days, like I do production work, like either recording bands or mixing and stuff, and I do that all out of my house. And so when you're doing this, especially if like a band's in town, you can get very like in that you're not leaving the house all fucking day. And so I've found that just even getting out just to have lunch is like this really nice reset. And
yeah, we talked about like me time, like your own personal like your basic me time, like things that like taking your own personal time to like do something to make you happy. And we were saying how it doesn't have to be like I'm gonna go to Europe, like it doesn't have to be like this big grandiose thing to bring you joy. And it's cool that you say that like something as simple as like I'm just gonna go get some lunch, because you're in a situation where your home is almost like your job as well, right? And it sounds pretty accurate. And you get to like go leave the house, have a meal, maybe like see a friend, and then come home, and that'll put you in like a good mood. That's awesome. Where would you go to eat? Shout out your favorite restaurant. Where would you go?
Big Truck Tacos is very good.
Big Truck Tacos. Okay.
Yeah, we just had right before this, we went and ate at this Mexican place called Ted's, which is an unusual name for a Mexican place, but it's really good.
That's awesome.
But yeah, and even there's like this place, it's like a chain called Chicken Express that's just fast food chicken fingers and okra, and I will just go through the drive-thru and just sit in the parking lot and eat. And it all comes in a box, so it's very easy to eat in the car.
Okay.
And it's chill, listen to a podcast, and yeah.
That's awesome.
That's all I need.
I love it.
And a Dr. Pepper.
And a Dr. Pepper?
Yeah. If I have a vice, it's Dr. Pepper.
I can't eat in the car. I am like 110%
Yeah.
like cannot eat in the car. Like I don't know what it's like. I can't eat in the car, and I also can't be barefoot when I have a meal. Like I have to have shoes on. I basically need to have footwear on when I eat a meal. These are like two weird things about me. But yeah, eating in the car. The other, I don't know where I was doing or what. I mentioned Taco Bell to somebody, and it came up like, just eat it in the car on the way home. No. What it was, we went to this new vegan place down in Middletown. It's called Plant City X. It was with my sister. That's right. And we didn't know if the inside was open because of pandemic stuff. We didn't know if you could dine in. So the whole, I was stressed this drive over there because I was like, all right, if we go through the drive-thru, I guess we can sit. I don't like sitting outside when I eat too. Like I just basically need to be at my own home. Yeah, eating outside is just not cool to me at all. So I was like, oh, maybe we have to eat outside. It was like windy and cold. And then it's like, oh, but we could eat in the car. And I was like, okay, like totally not, it would totally ruined it. But then when we got there, thankfully it was like the inside was open. We can sit and eat. So, but yeah, eating in the car, and I need to have shoes on. So
I can't eat anywhere. I do prefer an inside a restaurant.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah.
I don't care what it is. Like I just want it to stay. To go or to stay? Stay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Totally. And the car thing, I'm with you on that. It's funny. That's the only situation where I do enjoy eating in the car. And I don't know why the inside of that place is, I guess, not special. But I don't know. Most places I do like to sit down inside for sure.
It adds to the ambiance of the whole meal.
When I'm on the road, I can eat in the car, like while driving. Like, it's just like something romantic about it. You know what I mean? Like, I gotta get on the road.
to add to like driving and eating, like that's like a whole nother level of like sweat inducing, like
I got
flashes. I'm like,
last night coming here, I like stopped at a truck stop, and they had like a turkey sandwich, like those turkey sandwiches like in the plastic.
All wrapped up, yeah.
I just dropped eat the sandwich like a burrito.
Oh man.
You know what I can't do though is I can't eat at a sit down, like a restaurant with a waiter. I can't eat by myself. That's too uncomfortable for me.
And
I have to be able to order at a counter or something if I'm going to be eating alone inside somewhere.
Is it the like impression of like dining alone in a place that like does like makes it uncomfortable for you, or what is it about that?
I think it's maybe just being served, like having to interact that much.
Yeah.
By myself, and I just want to be able to like get my stuff and then sit alone.
Just be fine. I feel you.
I concentrate on what the people say. The couple next to me has to solve.
Thank you.
I do like to dine alone. Also, he was like, I can't eat barefoot. Like I love
being naked and eating.
Yo, when I'm on tour.
Oh man.
And I stopped doing it because I stopped eating after shows. But like last tour, dude, just get fast food on the way back to the hotel or whatever.
Can't wait.
Get totally naked, and just sit, throw a towel down on the chair so I don't have to like sit in someone else's whatever they did, and just eat.
Oh,
eat naked.
No way, never. I can't.
On the floor.
Good for you though. I mean, it's what makes us individuals. You know what I mean? We all have our things. You know. Well, I'll be the time jockey here. We got about 5 minutes left in our Zoom meeting here before we get Mikey kicked out because I'm not a pro Zoomer. Is there anything? So to just kind of to kind of wrap it with the does it get better twist here, Mikey? Is there anything that you could say, add, or give advice to just kind of like people who might be just struggling with, like, you know, I don't want to call it like everyday set, and I'm not asking you to give some sort of like, you know, huge solution to people who might be like struggling to find a positivity, but for somebody who is positive, good dude, is there anything that you could add, say, give advice to people who might like need to find that extra little spark to just have a better day?
Oh man,
I know it's kind of a
tough.
big question, I know, but yeah, I got to put you on the spot a little bit.
I mean, I only say because I know some people who deal with stuff, and it's those things where for me, it's like, do one of your hobbies, like something to distract you.
Mm-hmm.
And I know for some people that's not just an easy solution. You know, like they can't distract themselves from the things that get at their mind. But that's what I do. Like if there are things where I'm bummed, the easiest thing for me is to just distract myself with something else.
Yeah.
Like watch something or go work on something, just do anything.
Take yourself out of where you're at. Yeah.
Yeah. And so yeah, I mean that's what I do, but I know that's not always enough of a solution for a lot of people.
No, what's good though is that echoes what I've said and what Neil's said on a couple occasions where it's good to hear a new voice on it, where it's like, I do those things and it's like, oh, if you do that thing and I do that thing and it kind of works, then maybe somebody will try it, and then it'll be a new realization for it. And Neil's like rolling his eyes over there.
Oh no, it's true. No, I agree because I like. No, I agree.
But
I think if you're really bummed out, you should eat Taco Bell naked. It makes you feel better. Because someone once was like, oh, when I wanna lose weight, I eat naked in the mirror and I feel gross about myself.
wow.
And like I eat naked in the mirror and I'm like, should I jerk off too? Is that weird?
Eating naked in the mirror, huh? All right. Well, that's the title of this episode. All right, Mikey, thank you so much for being a guest. I really enjoyed meeting you and learning about you, and definitely he gives a little bit of I'm gonna be like Mikey tomorrow. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna try that move, and I'll let you know how that goes.
I'll tell you right now, man, it is hard to be in a bad mood around this kid. It is tough. Like even when I'm just like, this sucks, I'm like, this sucks, but with a sense of humor.
Well, I'm glad I'm able to do something to try to.
Absolutely, man. Thank you for being here. Thanks for taking the time.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, Neil, you got anything before we end for the week?
Yeah, good luck with your Magic tournaments.
Thanks. If I could only just be good enough to win one, it would be satisfying. But
oh no, you got to win one.
I do have to win one of these days. I've only been playing the game for 20 years.
What do we got to do? How do we fix this? Let's go. You got to get you Magic lessons?
No, there are people out there who are like Magic coaches, and you pay them money to like teach you how to play better.
Now let's work out a barter system. Be
All
like,
right.
listen, we'll make sure you don't want to kill yourself tomorrow.
I'll put you in a room with the most positive person that I ever met. He lives in Oklahoma. Put you in the room with him for one day. Teach me how to win a Magic tournament.
And you teach old homeboy how to win Magic.
All right. On that note, we'll catch you next time. Thanks for watching.
In 6 seconds.
Yeah.